Prepare yourselves for liberation.
These eyes have seen a lot of those, but they're never gonna see another one like I had with you.
Strange New Worlds Episode Review. I would like the review to go now. Well, friends, we've finally done it. We're up to the end. We've reached that pinnacle. We are at the 10th episode, the season finale of Star Trek Strange New Worlds' third season. This is the one otherwise known as New Life and New Civilizations. If you don't want spoilers, I'm giving you a warning as we speak that they will lie ahead. So this is your last chance to get out if those aren't for you. Otherwise, we're gonna crack into the episode where an ancient evil resurfaces, and Pike faces a life-altering choice to stop it. Can he do it? What's gonna happen in this episode? That's what we're here to talk about. Oh, well. This is not just serving as the end of the season, although that's its primary focus, but it's also tying up a fair amount of the loose threads that we've seen basically since the premiere of this season. The Gornaning of Marie Battelle, the Vesda infection of the computer, whatever that was happening there, what happened with Gamble, all of those things. We're really bringing all of the greatest hits of this season out, except for Doug, so I don't know what's going on with that. Did this episode wrap up the season is really what's going to make or break it, and I think it did a good job on one level and not a very good job on another level. So the whole crux of this is that somehow a mysterious pattern has reconstituted itself within the medical transporter in sickbay, even after they purged it. So they're trying to figure it out. What could have happened? Oh no! Dun dun dun!
If it isn't Dr. Corby.
That's right, Gamble's body has been reconstituted within the pattern buffer, transported across the galaxy via...
what you call them? Ley lines.
So that's it, the heart of the galactic ley line.
They're a real thing.
And now he is on some unsuspecting world, just really giving a lot of the inhabitants a fantastic time. Nothing to worry about, nothing to see here. Get it? Nothing to see here. You guys got it. And now we have a race against time to get the Enterprise to this planet in order to stop the evil. Not just the evil inside Gamble, but the true original evil within the galaxy.
I mean, what if they are the evil that predates doing evil? What if they are evil itself?
A grand existential threat to everything. And we go and have a nice little infiltration mission on the planet where everybody is wearing some pretty fantastic clothes, and Chapel dyed her hair for some reason. We get to see an interesting exchange between Mbenga and Una, who are reenacting something they did on Rigel, which presumably happened just prior to the events of the cage in the original Star Trek, so that's kind of a nice little touch and call back there. And it was really nice to see this scene here. I enjoyed the heck out of La'an doing the Vulcan nerve pinch, and just the little exchange where Chapel comes running.
Oh my god. That's what you guys do?
You're jealous, right? You can learn it?
I for some reason, I don't really like the relationship drama, but I like that little exchange. We also find out that the entire Marie Battelle thing is coming to a head here. She has taken that job at the Starfleet JAG Corps, but for whatever reason, she feels inexorably pulled to this mission. She needs to be there. I think she said something along the lines of she felt like there's a rope tied around her waist and it's just pulling her on this mission. So I guess she's got some density to get dealt with here. She inexplicably, for no real reason whatsoever, just comes out with Gary Mitchell eyes.
This is incredible. Her eyes. They've changed? Yes.
Right now, not really doing much to her. She can see as normal. It's actually pretty cool. I like the effects here, whether or not it was supposed to be an intentional callback to Gary Mitchell or not. I have to imagine it was, or they just kind of went with a cool effect. She didn't grow more and more aggressive throughout the episode, but I feel like that was potentially touched on later with the power of love was keeping her horrible emotions at bay. Plus, who knows what her Esper rating was, because that wasn't touched upon. Going back to the character I said felt a little bit off his game, we have Captain. I've time traveled and seen alternate versions of my own future several times throughout this show and Discovery, and he doesn't really get what's going on here.
Not you, them, eons ago. Not you now. How can that even be possible?
Not to dig at him too much, because it might just be an emotional response to the fact that he's potentially losing Marie, the love of his life, or the seeming love of his life, but it just did feel a little bit odd. Out of all of the characters in the show, he should be the one that was most likely to, oh yeah, I've seen stuff like this a lot of times. Time crystals, anyone? Kind of funny that the super important special meeting that was going to determine the course of action between the Farragut and the Enterprise was just done casually in the bar of the Enterprise. Now, my original thought was they didn't have the budget or the time to get any extra people to film on the Farragut, although I know it's just a redressed version of the Enterprise bridge, or to hire any of the extra crew or anything, so they were just utilizing standing sets. But it did feel a little awkward and odd that they just consistently went to Kirk whenever they had to discuss options with the Farragut, just completely going around the captain of the Farragut and not even discussing this with her. And I thought, well, maybe they couldn't get the actress back. But we do get a glorified cameo for approximately 4.7 seconds, and we get a direct reference to the Kirk Spock /fic here, so I guess they're going all in on this.
This is one hell of a date.
Indeed.
But be gentle.
Speaking of references we received in this episode, very early on, Pelia had a statement.
Remind me to tell you about time I spent with the time-traveling doctor I once knew.
Now, I'm sure that was meant as a backdoor reference to the Doctor Who Star Trek crossover they're seemingly teasing in both shows over the last couple of years, but personally, I think within canon, it might make a little bit more sense that she was actually referring to hijinks with this guy.
Like and subscribe. Like and subscribe. Like and subscribe.
But now we come to the real meat and potatoes of where this episode is probably going to live or die for you as far as the emotional connection to it. We find out that for some reason, Mbenga and Gamble are intrinsically linked, and basically it's some sort of a emotional connection that they had with each other. So in order for one of them to enter the trans-dimensional portal to get back to the planet from through the lens of time, they both need to enter the door simultaneously. So that was kind of established through a little bit of, I suppose you could say, convenient understanding by our crew working together, because we go down to the planet and determine that there's all sorts of these different languages.
A young boy was not yet a man, but his time had come.
An epic poem.
It's about me.
Basically, Mbenga and Gamble happen to go through the door together, they go through the portal, and the rest of our characters can't follow. And then we get the grand battle. Marie Battelle in her energy form and evil Shadow Incorporated Gamble. They need to battle it out for the fate of the future of the entire universe.
It's too late to stop me.
You're wrong. I know now, without a doubt.
Marie Battelle
Is light!
And bam, we cut to 20 minutes of an Inner Light type episode where Battelle and Pike, they just get to live out their entire life. History has changed. Pike never dies in the accident. He gets to grow old. They have a daughter who ends up going on to marry April's son. They have a relationship with Uncle Sock. Pike gets his wonderful apron monogrammed with Chef Pike, I think it says. Everything's going well, although every so often in their grand love adventure, somebody knocks on the door. And as they live to the very end of Battelle's life, suddenly Pike goes and answers the door, and
I am the one who knocks.
So this is curious. Is this a pocket dimension? Is this an entire separate reality? Is this a bubble universe? What was actually going on here? Because I'm kind of curious. I know this wasn't reality and it was just Battelle basically doing a twofold thing of giving Pike the future that was being lost by her making the sacrifice, but it was also allowing her to power up with the energy of love to get that final attack that was actually going to be able to defeat Gamble. At least that's seemingly what was going on here.
The love I feel is brighter than your darkness.
Because she didn't have the power to defeat him before she went into this love universe. So into the Battelleverse we go, live out this life. I'm just wondering if she created an alternate universe, and if so, do the characters that only exist in this universe, I guess I should say people, not characters, do they still exist? So somewhere out there, is there a daughter of Pike and Batel in the multiverse? Or is this just this made up thing that didn't actually exist and it was just all in their minds and none of these were actual real people? All that being said, they come out of the Batelverse and Marie is now sufficiently Super Saiyan enough to defeat and become the Beholder.
I am the Beholder. But I'm also Marie Batel.
That's right. She was always the Beholder. It was some timey-wimey effect predating cause thing. All of that makes a certain amount of sense as far as metaphysical non-logic goes. And that's where I feel like this episode kind of diverges. It was emotionally satisfying to a certain extent. It was very metaphysical, very mumbo-jumbo-y, very non-scientific and non-hard facts. And I think I just wanted a little bit more explanation for how and why things were working. I don't need the nitty-gritty of exactly like an inverse tachyon field created. I don't need all of that, but just some form of explanation outside of just light versus darkness, evil versus love, all of those things. It was just very esoteric, and I wanted a little bit more to actually chew on instead of just the emotional effect that it gave us. Not that that emotional effect didn't work. It actually reminded me similar to the added 20 minutes or 15 minutes at the end of the Discovery Season 5 series finale, where they just threw on this little bit of future history, I guess. It felt a little bit like that, and knowing a little bit of the behind the scenes now, this was created to potentially fill the void of a series finale if they didn't get picked up. It hit the feelings, just not the technical Star Trek-y stuff that I wanted to see, and that's why I have a little bit of a love-hate relationship with it. Ooh, maybe they did that intentionally because this was all about love versus hate and good versus evil. Wow. I don't think they did that, but if that was intentional, big swing, I suppose you could say. So I said very early on, this episode was meant to tie up not only the season, but a lot of the little lingering arcs. So we now have the entire story of the Gorn connection to Marie Batel. That's settled. The Vesda situation, that's settled. Even some of the relationship stuff, we furthered a little bit of Chapel and Corby towards their inevitable fate in TOS. We got a little bit of more forward momentum with the Kirk-Spock relationship, as well as the Kirk-La'an and Spock-La'an relationship, because the one thing I didn't touch on really is that the mind meld that allowed Spock and Kirk to be perfectly in sync with each other.
1/4 impulse power.
I liked that scene. It looked cool. It was a little bit out there in terms of a solution, but it worked for me.
Now we unite as Science Besties.
It was a cool effect. It was cool to see, and it allowed the inevitable Kirk and Spock relationship to form. Again, I've stated several times, I want this show to be primarily about the Strange New World specific characters. So every time they give a story to Kirk instead of the actual characters that are linked to Strange New Worlds, I feel like we're missing time with characters we're not going to have much longer. But I liked how it was utilized in the episode, and the relationship between them. Obviously, I feel like they're trying to get that chemistry with all of those people for the inevitable spin-off of Star Trek Year One that they're really heavily pushing right now. I'm still really, really annoyed by that scene in the second episode where they implicitly told us that Pike and Uhura hired the Adosian bartender to come on the ship, to never reference her, to never show, just what was that scene for? It's now making me wonder if they added that scene at the very last minute because they were done filming season 3, but they had intentions for season 4 to bring her in. So I'm wondering if maybe she's going to move onto the ship at the beginning of season 4 as their bartender, and her love interest, her husband, however the Adosians work, is going to transfer onto the Enterprise at the same time, lower deck style, and he will be Eric's from the animated series. If that's not what they're planning, there's still time, Kurtzman. There's still time. Another thing that kind of shocked me, no Pelia death, no Pelia leaving the ship, no Pelia story really whatsoever. I thought she was going to be more tied into this ancient evil, but she just gave a couple of quips and references, and she was just part of the episode. So she didn't leave, she didn't die. We still have Scotty and Pelia, so I'm wondering what they're intending to do with her in the future. She's not a main cast character. She's in the end credits as like a special guest star or something, not in the opening credits, so I'm not really certain what we're planning with her. Is she just going to be there sometimes until the show concludes in season 5, or is she actually going to leave? All in all, I thought it was a decent episode. It wasn't wowing me too much. I did feel the emotional impact, but for an ending coming off of the strongest episode of the season, it was a bit of a step down and a bit of a letdown, not ending on a cliffhanger. Probably a better choice than leaving us hanging for 4.7 years like the last cliffhanger, but at the same time, by not having it and having it feel like a soft ending to the show, there really wasn't any... There's no real feeling right now of, oh my god, I need to see episode 1 of season 4 right away. It's just kind of, the 10 episodes are over. Wasn't a very even season. It was a very, probably the weakest season of Strange New Worlds, full stop right now. And I'm hoping that doesn't leave people with a bitter taste in their mouth. I'm hoping it's leaving people hopeful for the future of the show. Otherwise... I mean, I guess it doesn't have to do that well anymore since the 4th and 5th season are already being shot and finished right now. So even if those tank, the show's already done. But I really hope it doesn't put people off to the point where they're not going to come back. What did you think of this episode? What did you think of this season? Do you think it ended well, or did you feel a bit underwhelmed and a little bit like, what was all that about? Whatever you think, leave all that down below. Like, share, subscribe, hype, join, do all those YouTube things. But until next time.
So hit subscribe.